All right, looks like we're on day 30 of building AI websites until we get some leads. Today, we did get some phone calls from one of the real estate sites in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I think they were spam because they came from a landline, called one back. It was a fax, which I don't even know how that happens. Second one, number was invalid, so who knows, but I did build out some automations on the back end for that. So using Go High Level, just so we can kind of text the person immediately so they know, hey, we're real. Even if we pick up, they'll still get a text. So I think it's a good thing. And if you guys don't know, I personally live in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We moved here about 8 months ago from Florida. And we moved here because we wanted to be closer to the outdoors and things. And when I say outdoors, I mean hiking and mountain biking, some climbing, and like not just, a few miles. Like I need hundreds of miles of all of the above. I need to be able to like go into the someplace and just be free for a bunch of hours away from people and cars and humans, and spent a lot of time, basically about a year, researching where to live. And we landed in Colorado Springs because we've got over 200 miles of bike trails just like in the city itself, like paved trails, bike share lanes, and things like that. But then you get into the Rocky Mountains, which is basically 3 blocks over from where I live, and you've got national wilderness, national forests the size of Connecticut, with hundreds of more miles of dirt roads and trails, hiking and biking trails. So I decided to take my love and my experience from coming from the flatland way down south at negative 15 feet sea level, which is kind of where we lived, to 6,500 feet in elevation. So we live a mile high, right? It's not just Denver. And if I tie together that with real estate, now I'm not a real estate agent, I don't have a license yet. I will. But right now, what I'm doing is just building out a real estate page that helps people who are interested, like me, to moving out here for the adventure. And you can see here, live your adventure in Colorado Springs, relocation guide for finding homes near the best hiking and mountain biking trails in Colorado Springs, the unofficial outdoor adventure guide built by hiker and biker trash. That is kind of what we call ourselves when you start living out of your backpack for 3-4 months at a time. You basically become homeless and eat things out of trash cans sometimes if you're hungry enough. And you smell a lot. So kind of a derogatory term. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, but I know I'm hiker trash. So what we did was went into Notebook LM, and I just kind of told it what we were trying to do. I gave it some sources, a couple of similar websites, sort of like relocation guides, some like actual guide type of things, and it just gave me the breakdown of what it should be realistically, like the title tags, the main, the hero section, right? Like it built all that out for me so that I can just copy this. I don't know which one it was. It could have been that one or this one. Probably this one. Either way, you just copy whatever like your finished prompt is, like your design prompt, and then you just copy it into. We'll go back to the Firebase beginnings. Oh, I'm really washed out. And you basically just paste that in here. I didn't copy it, but let's see. You just copy that and you paste it in here. And it's going to say, it's going to go through it and be like, hey, is this what you want to do? Pick and choose your colors. I don't really care about any of that. I just make sure that it's MVP, right? Minimum viable product, and that's it. I'm just trying to ship the first thing. You hit prototype and it goes through. It may glitch. It may have some coding issues, but usually just press a button and it'll recode it, fix it out. You may have to do an API setup, which is just a button and it'll set up itself with Google Gemini. And then once you kind of get through all that, you land here and you can see this is the prompt that I gave it here. I don't know if it actually did the 301s. So here's the plan. Okay, so here's like the plan it gave. So that was like on that home screen. Here's the plan. I hit prototype. So then it comes over here, it prototypes it. It stops and says, hey, you need an API key. And you just click this and it'll generate one for you. This just kind of like a little notification. There was a build error, but you just press fix and it'll fix it almost every time. I've never had it where I couldn't figure it out. Sometimes the Google Firebase, it's down. So always come up to here and check to see if you have any issues. And they're still creating and opening Android Studio workspaces. So this had been going on for a few days, but then this was the one I was dealing with earlier. Yeah, so this is closed. Right, so this was today. So basically all morning I couldn't really do anything with it. It was causing all sorts of errors. So forced me to go do some other things, but always remember, like, if it's not doing something, please go to the support and check out the status dashboard. You'll save yourself a lot of time and frustration. And it spit it out, and I just wanted it to be like a little more SEO friendly. I needed Colorado Springs in there. I needed a relocation guide. I may put the relocation guide up in the top so that Google knows, like, hey, this is a relocation guide, as opposed to it being just kind of down here. It doesn't matter to me right now. I just needed to get it up and running. So, we got all that. Not really a lot going on here. You can see the page is pretty basic. We've got some guides and some neighborhoods, not a lot. And again, AI did all of this stuff. Like, it put it all together. So more coming soon. We'll build this out, but it's fine for now. Pictures, I don't care about the pictures. We'll deal with them later. Currently, the objective is to take this and get it onto a URL. How do you do that? Well, you hit view details once it has published. So you're going to hit publish for the first time, and it's going to ask you to connect your cloud account. Easy, it may take you like an hour to figure it out the first time, but super easy to do. I didn't record it, and you just have to trust me. And then it's going to be like, hey, cool, it's live. And you're like, awesome, now what? So you can use this URL, but no one wants to use that one. So you'll actually have to come into view details, and then it's going to open up the console. And you go to settings and add a custom domain. And when you add the custom domain, you're going to put your URL in here, and then it's going to give you some TXT files, some CNAMEs, and some A records, and you go into your domain server and just stick them in there. There's a few little weird things that can go on, but just use the chat for your domain records, like GoDaddy or whatever you have. Show them, screenshot what you're trying to do, like the records you're trying to add, and just make sure you're doing it right. Save yourself 4 hours of frustration. I've been there. Then let's see, what else we got? The next step was adding it to Google Search Console, and that's why this time around, building this website, the first thing I wanted to do was get this thing on Google Search Console. So I've actually got it on the Google Search Console, but the next thing I need to do is add sitemap to Google Search Console, and that will help Google understand what the heck is going on. In order to add it to Google Search Console, search.google.com, you go to add a property, and you kind of just follow the same deals before. You enter the URL, it's just, mywebsite.com. There's no HTTP / whatever's. It's just the naked domain. It'll ask you to add a TXT file for verification. go back in your domain. This is really easy. It'll take 5 minutes, and then wait a few minutes. If it's like, oh, I can't verify, I didn't know it, just wait a few minutes and just come back and it'll work. So now we've got Experience Colorado Springs listed with Google. They know about it. The next step is to get a sitemap, and it couldn't fetch it right now. So we'll do this live. Build a SEO friendly sitemap. Plan only. Sometimes it struggles with this because it builds weird ones. Sometimes it sometimes will use a wrong URL for the sitemap. So we'll see. I found out priority doesn't really matter, but whatever. Great. I'm just going to trust it, and I'm going to roll with it. If I need to adjust it later down the line, I will figure it out then. But until then, we will just keep it rolling. All right, so we got a sitemap. And remember, just because it said it did something, it doesn't mean it's published in live. So to test the sitemap, we actually have to publish it. So you'll see the publish, and it's going to take a few minutes. I'm just going to let this run. And what else can we talk about here? Let's look at some other websites that we got. So here's the one we got 2 calls from today. You can see we've got our sitemap in here. We've got 92 page discovered. You're going to go into the performance. This is where you're going to see all your clicks, impressions, average position, and click-through rate. I'm sort of obsessed with position. I don't know if it's necessarily the best thing to obsess about, but I don't need to see everything at number 1. I just need to see the graph going up. So I want to see this red line and also the purple line. I want to see all lines going up and to the right, because that means we're getting closer and higher, right? So that would be good. And then if we sort our queries by number of impressions, see we're getting most of our impressions right now for Idaho first-time homebuyer. And we're ranked position 85, which is what it is. These pages aren't necessarily optimized for the words that are showing up, which is the process, right? Building is easy, in my perspective. Optimizing is hard part, because it's like, oh, well, I got 85 position here and 26 impressions. Like, oh, geez, like, what do I do? How do I even get there? That's page 9, basically. I tend to go the other way, which is from position. I want to see what's closest to number 1 first. Because if the more pages I can get to be near position 1 through 3, the more authority my page will have, in my mind. I don't know if that's true, but think about the fact that this page is 85, so it's like barely anything to do, that page, with first-time home buyers in Idaho. You're going to have to add a lot of content there. Here, new home buying, position 5. I don't even know what's on this page, but it's got to be pretty easy to, if it's already number 5, whoops, inspect, copy, open. If it's already a position number 5, like, this is what we have, which is not amazing. There's no locality to it. It's just a pretty good first-time homebuyer document. But I don't even think it says, does it even say Idaho? Idaho. Okay, we do have Idaho in here a few times. Idaho, Idaho, Idaho. Idaho, Idaho, Idaho. So let's see as we get to the top. Idaho. So this isn't in my H1 at all, or even probably my H2. It's not in my subheading. So my guess is all we got to do is add whatever this query is, new home buying to this page, and we'll probably do pretty good. So what I'm going to do, and this is how I do things here, is we're going to go to, every day I spend 3 to 4 hours on a website working on it. And I always track what it is that I'm doing every day so that I can come back once a quarter and be like, hey, what did I do? What are the SOPs? And I can start to build an SOP based off of this. And then I can go and see like, hey, what did I do? What didn't I do? A lot of this stuff in here isn't checked because this has to be done to a lot of different pages in here. So there's a lot of work to go back and do. And we're going to say that page optimize for, I can't do that here, but we're going to do this. Shoot. New home buying. And there we go. Oops. So now I know, and this follows everywhere. So today is Wednesday, so we go to next Wednesday. These are repeating, and then this will show back up again. Right there. So that's how we keep track of what we're doing. And let's see here. Updated sitemap. Did it publish? 7-Eleven. Yes, it published 5 minutes ago. So we're going to go to experience Colorado. So Pikes Peak relocation. So here's our title tag for this. Pikes Peak relocation, Colorado Springs, and home and outdoor guides. Not bad. I mean, it's fine for right now. But what we're trying to do is see what the sitemap looks like. Sitemap.xml. See if my brain works. All right. See, here's the problem. It's like, what is this? It doesn't recognize that it has an actual URL. So what we're going to do is bring up, because again, we're going to make an SOP, right? And then we're going to say, make sure when building, oh, here we go. We'll add it here. So make sure when adding sitemap that you give, that you prompt Firebase to use the real URL. I don't know. So in this case, it's going to be this. Otherwise, it will use, what is it using? Web.app. Which web.app is like this. So just if you were to, I don't remember how to do it. What is it? This one. So this is how you preview it. Also, it's thinking that it's just an app, right? You can see how fast this page loads. Pictures are a little slow. That's okay. So what do we got to do here? Let's get out of that. Let's get out of that. We don't need the cloud backend. We need here. The sitemap URL needs to be not web app. Plan only. You should put plan only in the beginning. Sometimes I only put it at the end if I don't think it's going to get too confused. Sitemap. Okay. Sure. Good. So go. We're going to do that. And while it's thinking, you can see what it's doing here. Site's not too big right now. It's only like less than 10 pages, so this shouldn't take too long. With one of the sites, I've got over 1,000 pages, and it can take a few minutes, but you know, it's like going through all the code and rebuilding it. All right, so, all right, publish that. Takes about 5 minutes to publish. So let's reset here, take a look at some things. So we look at the low-hanging fruit. And we've got page 2, page 5, page 5. So these are pretty good. Like this one, this is our main page, and we're ranked 5.8, and we're getting 10 impressions. But I'm curious what people are searching that we're getting to that page. Google doesn't have enough info to show us, which is annoying. You think Google would know everything, but they don't. So sometimes if you're on a page and you're looking to see like, oh, what are the 10 impressions? Well, who knows? Google doesn't say. Let's see here. None for that one either. Let's try one with a lot. So this one had 120 impressions total. So now you have it that has more data, right? We've got 18 queries. So here are all the queries that people are searching for. And this page is showing up. So easiest thing to do when you only have a singular page, first we'll see which page it is. So this is just the main service page, which I'm going to have to restructure. We're not going to do that now. But basically the idea is take all these keywords and plug them into Notebook LM. So add a source and you'll just use copy text. And then you'll unselect all your other sources. Just leave that source, and then you'll say, hey, then you say, create me content based off of these queries using the ones with the most impressions more often. Use these words in the headers, the H1, H2s, H3s, because that's what Google's looking for. And then you just let it do its thing. Let's see here. Still publishing. So as it publishes, what else? What else? We've got another site. Let's see. This is my wife's site. Here's one for Lake Charles. This one's been around the longest. So if we look at the graph here, at first glance you're like, isn't great, right? But when you really look at the trend, this comes from like stock trading with trend lines, at least for me anyways. Trend line is the idea of where can you draw a straight line across a page or diagonal or whatever, draw a straight line and connect the most dots or go through in the most places at the best point of entry. So I wish I had a draw. I don't think I can draw on this, but imagine you drew a horizontal line and you wanted to get like all the tops of these graphs. You wanted to like gather them, the most of them, like the highest points. So, you know, I'd probably be tempted to draw a line kind of like across that way. So if you look at that, this is actually a really interesting graph. It relates a lot to trading, but we won't talk about that. So these are our highs, right? From the period of 812 to 912, 913. And then we go from 9/13 to the present. So our old highs on average start to look like our lows in the new world, right? So you draw this line all the way across. This is our high point for this section of time. And now that high point, that line, is now our low point. So we have a new high point, which in trading is really good. And in general, it's like awesome. We have shown support at kind of this range here. So in the 60s. So we know that really you probably don't belong too much below the 60s on average. And now we're testing you above the 60s. And you can see we're getting up in ones and twos and sevens and 20s, fours, 17s. So we're getting a lot higher in the page results, which is amazing. I love this. And we have this huge spike of clicks, 3 clicks. Didn't turn in anything. Average position, 3rd page. So that's cool. All right, what do we got? Okay, it's finished. So let's refresh this. Hopefully it works. Guide biking, guide. Sure, this is great. So then we'll go back here and where are we at? What is this site? Experience Colorado Springs. Sitemaps, couldn't fetch. How do we do this? Add a new sitemap? I'm gonna delete this one now. Oh, just add a new one. I don't know what this one is. How I can delete it. Not sure how to delete this. But you can see we've got success sitemap. It already crawled it, so that's good. Now we'll go to this performance and I will obsessively check for the next 7 days to see when we get our first impression. And then it's purely just a waiting game, right? Every 7 days you kind of come back and you're like we did with these other sites. Every 7 days you're just kind of checking what's going on. Like what's going on here? What are our top impressions? Right? We buy Lake Charles, cool. Position 67, okay, interesting. What pages is it showing? We've got it showing 2 pages, which isn't good. We want it to show 1 page. Right now I've got a weird thing going on, but I did fix this. So with this site, I pushed all of the main sell my house traffic to my location page. Don't know if that was right or wrong, but that's what we did. It had the higher ranking. And then you see now it's got a redirect. So you can see it again. Watch it as the screen opens. It'll say /sell my house fast. Oops. Open, sell my house fast, then immediately it pops back over. So that's good. We fixed that. That was what we did this week. And we'll reset the filters. Yes, just coming in, like organizing 7 days, seeing what impressions we got. So we're doing pretty good here. See, we went up from 62 or 65 to 58, so that's cool. These other pages. Then I'm going to look at the position. Sell my house sulfurs, page or position 3. This one should be a redirect. Yeah, so that's good. Then this is probably a redirect too. If not, it will be. Yeah. So I did a lot of work on this one this weekend to try to consolidate some of these pages for the queries so that we have basically one query, Lake Charles, because we buy Lake Charles should all be going to one page. It shouldn't be confused on which page to send it to. So that's what we're working on. See what Westlake's doing. Same thing. Westlake's got a confusion, but this is an old URL structure, so this one pushes backwards too, so that's good. And we're at position 19 here, so we're getting there. It's probably from the first half of the week, second half of the week. If you have any question, hit me up. We have a Skool community where we go over building websites to generate leads. And we also do and talk a lot about using Go High Level, because great, sure, you generated some leads. How do you manage these leads? How do you keep in touch with them? How do you make sure that they don't forget about you and they know you exist? We build all of that in here. We have a lot of conversations, and we have a lazy systems lab on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, where we chat about all fun things real estate, leads, and Go High Level automations, AI, all the fun things. Peace.